Good afternoon, and welcome to another malignant episode of Diatribes from the Voice of Doom. And now here's your incredulous and loathsome host, Voice of Doom. Good afternoon, everybody. Nice to see you again, not watching my show. And I haven't done a diatribe in a few days. So I think I'll get back to my usual raging and screeding because the year is coming to an end, the new year is upon us. December's flying by, unfortunately, because the faster the days go by, the faster the bills come, which is a personal matter. I don't even know what the topic's going to be, but I'm going to talk about various things. First of all, I said in my very first diatribe, one of the first episodes, I talked about the various platitudes and sayings that ring true in life. And I talked about the old adage, give them an inch, and they'll take a mile. They'll take 10 miles. They'll take the whole circumference of the planet. And I will give you a couple of examples of that. Smashers and grabbers. You cannot rightly call them looters anymore unless they're looting after the smashing and grabbing, because you associate looting with a disaster and opportunists taking advantage of a situation where there's a breakdown a bit in society for whatever reason, and people loot. They see an opportunity to take, and they think it's their right to take because of whatever injustice they may have suffered during their life. So we understand that. So since COVID was raging since March of 2020, the powers that be said it's really inhumane to have criminals locked up in close quarters with this raging pandemic. Ergo, call the prisons of prisoners. Send them back out to society. Now, I'm not going to say there's any relationship between that and the smashers and grabbers, but I will say that when you get a concerted effort by law enforcement, and I'm not saying police, I'm saying the administration of justice, you have a concerted effort to say there's just too much of a chaos, too much, confusion with COVID to prosecute petty crimes like looting and smashing and grabbing hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of merchandise. And you give them an inch and you see what happens. The cities are in a shambles. No shopkeeper in their right mind would want to open up their store in the city right now. Any city. Give them an inch. Okay, let's go to the other side of the coin. The people that caused all this, basically the politicians. Now, ever since I was a kid, it was always like, yeah, the government, there's a, secrecy and there's shady dealings and there's corruption, and we accept that. Now, after a while, you accept it to the point where the politicians exercise their corruptive rights with impunity, because they talk about how everybody else should pay their fair share. Hundreds of millions of dollars, the net worth of politicians, career politicians. People say, well, yeah, government workers don't make that much, so we'll look the other way if there's some stock dealings. Inside info, which could, if you're in D.C. in the inner circle, there's inside info all the time. You know what's going to happen. Of course, you're going to make money in the stock market, even if it plunges. So, it's all about money. And we've accepted it for politicians because they're very poor and they need to make more. And they need to do shady things to get it because their salary is unjust. And it's always about the money. Now let's go to money. Defund the police. Why is it always like if we don't have more money, then we're not going to be able to do our job? It doesn't cost much to catch a criminal and prosecute them and incarcerate them. The prisons have already been made. The prosecutors have already been paid. The police officers have been paid. They have a police car. They have their guns. I mean, we need more money. What do you need more money for? I'm not saying defund the police. I'm just saying that's a slogan. They may demoralize the police, which they had very much did. It's like they're caught in the middle, rocking a hard place because they got the people above them that are undermining their efforts and the people below them that think they're tyrants and racist. So I'm going to get a little angry with this one. I've just gotten started. All right. I think I've talked about that enough. It's obvious what's going on. And it'll get worse, and I hope it does get worse. Now let's talk about causality. This is a very deep subject. I've talked about it many times on my diatribes. And I'm going to talk about tornadoes. I'm going to talk about high winds and hurricane winds, strange weather. I'm going to talk about raging fires. And I'm going to talk about how it was caused by mankind. And I was just thinking it's ironic that that's one of the few things that they still use mankind for. They don't say they kind or humankind. It's like, yeah, climate change was caused by mankind. Throw that in there. It was caused. I'm going to agree with that wholeheartedly. But not for the reasons they think. It was caused because we're doing the wrong thing. It's caused because we're practicing the wrong doctrines, religions. We're not spiritually sound, most people. And our collective karma is creating these damn tornadoes and fires. It has nothing to do with us being so powerful that we're changing the weather. Superman. We're not changing the weather. We're changing the weather. It's through our own stupid actions. Our actions between each other. The world is going to hell because of our own actions, and it's not carbon monoxide. We would be fine if everybody drove a car. Problem is we're killing each other. The problem is we're robbing each other. The problem is we're oppressing each other. And when I say oppression, I'm not talking about Jim Crow laws. I'm talking about oppression of all of us. Now we will come to Petri dish because he finally got onto the YouTube. I think he did a little diatribe of his own. And I saw it and then I didn't see it again because I wanted to go back and revisit what he said. Now, I remember when COVID was, a virus that had a certain percentage of fatalities, and they told you the odds, and they gave you the statistics. But suddenly I see a change in Petri dish. People will die who are not vaccinated this winter. People who are not vaccinated will die along with their relatives. Now that's kind of a bigger, kind of a acceleration or taking it up a notch or two or three. Because it's not just the risk and you should and blah, blah, blah. It's you will die. And 15,000 people, unvaccinated of course, will die per week by January 8th. I don't think Petrie actually gave a date. He just said, this winter, everyone who didn't get vaccinated will die, along with their relatives. Now, I don't know how they're going to die, but he told us that. And winter is almost upon us. 4 more days, 3 more days. So we can have that to look forward to. I just thought it was interesting that Petrie kind of took it up to the level like you are going to die if you don't get vaccinated. So get vaccinated and boosted right now, today. I mean, he's been idiotic before, but it's kind of an overt threat. I don't know if I trust what he's saying. Anyway, that video, I couldn't find it again on YouTube. It was only a 2.5 minute thing, and it was taken down because maybe even YouTube goes, hey, wait a minute. Even if you're the president, I don't think you should say that everyone who's unvaccinated is going to die this winter, because that's a little much. But that will be good for the vaccinated, because finally, once and for all, there will be no need for masks, ever, again, because all the unvaccinated have thankfully been removed from this mortal coil. So life should go back to normal. I'm sure it will. Anyway, I think I said quite a bit, kind of between the lines. It's not one of those things that I come right out and say stuff. I'm not going to say like a possible ridiculous conspiracy theory of how they want to socially engineer humankind, a la Brave New World, that they actually want to get rid of women, because I actually thought about it after my diatribe on, transgenders in sports, etc. And it's like, wait a minute. I mean, they have abortions. Half of the abortions are females, so that's a good chunk. And if you replace females with males who want to be females, then you circumvent any dire possibility that two people might have a child together that, you never know how it's going to turn out. So maybe they want to get rid of women. And that's not exactly, a ridiculous notion. Look at it. Look at what's going on. Yeah, I had a lot to say, and now I don't have anything more to say. I think you got the gist of it. We're the cause of all these problems. It's the interrelationship of all people and everyone individually and interrelated that's causing these disasters. It was expounded very clearly back in somewhere around 58, when Nietzsche wrote how to secure the peace of the land through the correct practice. People practice correctly. That means living by the law of cause and effect every single day of the minute, every minute. If you think about cause and effect every minute, there'd be a much better universe. And then I realized it's my fault again, because I'm no better than anybody else, and I'm causing it too. And I'm telling my kid not to drink so much because he's going to have a fiasco. There's something bad's going to happen. And he's not going to get ahead in life if he keeps on drinking every single day. And yet, I do that as I'm having. And I have my own bad habits, and it's like, man, if I don't get myself together, how do I expect him to get himself? Well, he's his own entity, and he has to take care of himself. But if I take care of myself, and then maybe I can show him, and then he goes up and gets his promotion and gets his dream job, and everything gets better and better. That means discipline, and I don't have it. And I'm going to have to work on it, because I do it. It spreads to my son, It spreads to everyone else. Everyone else starts living by cause and effect. We live in a Buddha land. We live in a treasure land. And it's inevitable, eventually, after the conflagration. And it's up to me. That's what human revolution is all about. That's what standalone spirit is all about. And it's going to be hard, because I've been doing bad things for a very long time. I would say about 47 years. So we will leave it at that. It's up to me. It's up to you. I think I gave you the gist of how this universe works. And I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good. Enjoy the day. And happy Christmas, Hanukkah, and Kwanzaa, and everything else.